I would want to invite the representative of a civil society organizations to talk about their own role. I did mention that the plan itself went through a full spectrum of this country, and so also was the involvement of the CSOs. So I'll now invite Mr. Alfonso Manley. For 2 minutes, I will stand by you.
Your Excellency, the President, retired Brigadier Julius Madabio, the Chairman and Co-Chair, permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Basically, the role of the CSO in the ESP is to popularize and engage community so they understand the 4 critical guidelines of the free quality education, which is access, comprehensive safety, radical inclusion, and quality teaching and learning. Your Excellency, I did a radio interview a few days ago for which I make a statement, and I would like to justify it here. And I said, the Northern region is the biggest beneficiaries of the free quality education. I will justify with a district. Falaba district, before 2018, used to send below 50 candidates for the national primary school examination. In 2020, Falaba district sent 1,225 candidates. 1,142 passed the examination, 93%. It has never happened. The greatest thing you've done in this sector, Your Excellency, is appointing Dr. Moina Senge as Minister to steer the ship of this great sector. When we went to Paris, Your Excellency, I was there present when the head of GP told you, we are not here only to support Sierra Leone. We're also here to learn from your concept, especially the radical inclusion. A round of applause for His Excellency. Your Excellency, it is only education that will make us, Sierra Leoneans, realize that we are one people living in the same country. By extension, we are one people, one country. Education will make us realize that. Before I drop down the mic, let me quickly run through the 9 policy objectives, which others have not mentioned, and is key and important in the implementation of the free quality education, especially the education sector plan. 1, strengthen the institutional core. It's very important. Recruits, retain, support excellent educators, reduce danger and other disparity in education, provide safe, proactive, conducive environment for learning, enhance emergency, strengthen partnership, increase data technology. Mr. President, I will remiss in my duty if I fail to mention the work of FEPS, the World Bank project being implemented by the Free Education Quality Secretariat. And I want me family the listing, Leone Yeridis. They've spent 15 billion to pay primary school, over 5,000 primary schools. They supported them with 15 billion. Also, they've constructed 106 additional classrooms. Also, they are about to transfer 29 billions to about 538 schools. And also planning to construct another 200 classrooms. I'm saying this because I've visited this site, I've monitored the program, I've monitored the project. I also want to commend the head of the Teaching Service Commission, who have done so well. And lastly, I would like Mr. Mohamed B. Fofana and Vandi Dawood to stand and recognize them, because throughout this process, they head the secretariat. They are doing the work behind the scene. His Excellency, you parents watching me, if you want to continue to enjoy the free quality education as parents, you know what to do. I will encourage you all, go and register, get your voter card, and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. When the civil society speaks, nothing more to say, but thank you very much. And for your recognition, we know that when we go to communities, these communities are headed by chiefs, by paramount chiefs who are the custodian of tradition. And so they were part of this process. I'll now invite the representative of paramount chiefs, PC Alhaji Alusan Almami Sori II of Gile Chiefdom in the Cambia district, and he's also regional secretary for the National Council of Paramount Chiefs. Shall we put our hands together, please? Paramount Chief, you have to forgive me. I will stand by you for my 2 minutes.
Your Excellency, retired Brigadier Julius Madabio, Mr. Chief Minister, Ministers of Government, development partners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Chair, I deliberately omitted you because I know you are the chair of the occasion. Thank you. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, permit me on the outset to register the sincere apologies from my chairman, who unavoidably absent. He asked me at the latest minute to step in his shoes so that traditional leaders will not be left out of this all-important occasion. One thing that we used to do in the old days of the school, you are part and parcel of every activity in your school. I benefited from being a Boy Scout, and a Boy Scout that went to first class, your motto is always be prepared. And I am always prepared to stand in the shoes of my chairman. Traditionally, paramount chiefs are never timed. They speak. But I'm not going to invoke that privilege here today, because I know His Excellency, being part of that same institution, can attest to that fact that I said. Your Excellency, sir. Good. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Council of Paramount Chiefs of the Republic of Sierra Leone, I am gratified to make these few remarks on this launching of this auspicious occasion of the launching of the Education Sector Plan 2022 to 2026. We've been asked to come and comment on the role of traditional leaders in the education sector. I must say, the role of traditional leaders does not only stop at the educational sector, it encompasses the entire fabric of human society in this country. Because traditional leaders who are headed by paramount chiefs form 90% of the population of this country. Therefore, every program, every socio-cultural, infrastructural program that goes into this country is received by paramount chiefs, supervised by paramount chiefs, and the paramount chiefs are more or less the policemen of all development projects that come into their communities. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the institution of paramount chiefs arguably is the oldest and arguably the most permanent institution in this country. It predates even Pedro de Santra who was here in 1462. Pedro de Centra found institution of chieftaincy in this country, and it was by their permission that he was able to learn and get fresh water from Freetown Estuary here today. So our institution of paramount chieftaincy and traditional leaders is the oldest and the most permanent institution in this country. The role of community leaders in the successful implementation of this program cannot be overemphasized, but should not be underestimated. The role of traditional leaders in this program should not be underestimated. We are there at the recipient of all programs. As traditional leaders, we are there to ensure that teachers come to school. Where the inspector is not available, the chief can ensure that there is no ghost teacher there. The teacher, the paramount chief, the local communities can ensure that no ghost schools exist. The teacher, the traditional leader can monitor PBFs, can monitor development funds, can even monitor the presence of teachers in their various schools, because not all times are inspectors available. The institution of paramount chieftaincy was successfully utilized by pre-colonial administrations, colonial administrations, and even very well by modern-day administrations. The present administration, realizing the effective role of paramount chiefs in the education sector, very recently in Bo, organized a joint meeting between the Ministries of Education, Ministry of Local Government, to ensure that paramount chiefs take the role of ownership of schools in their chiefdoms. Today's luncheon could not have come at a better time, as paramount chiefs and custodians of our various chiefdoms are mandated by the entire membership of the National Council of Paramount Chiefs to pledge our readiness to take ownership of and exercise monitoring and supervisory role over all educational institutions in our chiefdoms. We will continue to support Your Excellency's flagship program of human capital development throughout in education. We wish to assure Your Excellency, the government and the people of Sierra Leone of our unflinching support and cooperation at all times. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Paramount Chief. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, did you hear me time the Paramount Chief by my honor? No, because I'll be in breach of protocol even with His Excellency the President, who belongs to that institution. I did not time you. I was just being careful. We will move on to the next role of development partners, and I will invite the representative of the Irish Aid to take the podium.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, Dr. Julius Madebayo, Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Chief Minister, all other protocol observed. Good morning. My name is Carol Hannon. I'm the Head of Development at the Embassy of Ireland. Agladi fo danaya this morning. I have shortened my remarks, but my full remarks will be available. I'm honoured to be here this morning to speak on behalf of Sierra Leone's development partners, to congratulate the leadership and the staff of the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education and the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education for producing this 5-year education sector plan. We commend the process of developing the plan, which was very ably led by the ministries, the two ministries, but included broad consultation at national and regional level, making it truly a homegrown plan. The development of the plan was also supported by your international partners and by local and international civil society organizations, and we've heard about this already today. I think the many references in the plan attest to the range and volume of resources used in formulating it. Sierra Leone is playing a leadership role on the global education stage through numerous avenues. Not least, the President co-chairing of the SDG 4 High-Level Steering Committee, and Minister Senge's leadership role in the upcoming UN Transforming Education Summit. Sierra Leone has also led by example in making commitments and adopting policies that aim to transform education to be more inclusive and gender transformative. The radical inclusion policy and the recent spearheading of gender transformative leadership in education through the Freetown Manifesto are just two recent examples. Sustaining political leadership and political will be key to the successful implementation of this plan. With it, Sierra Leone can show how education systems can be learner-centered, inclusive, and gender transformative, and deliver on learning for all. The plan emphasizes quality of learning, and today, as we also celebrate International Literacy Day, we welcome its focus on foundational skills, which are essential to all learning. The plan notes that it is not just how many children enter the system, but the skills, knowledge, and values they acquire while they are there. The inclusion of values is important. Education enables citizens to develop their skills and knowledge that can lead to productive employment and the country's economic growth, but it is also about social and emotional development and the instilling of values that contribute to an inclusive, just, and peaceful society. The plan is ambitious. However, resources, both human and financial, are limited. Making the best use of all resources, eliminating corruption, and eliminating waste will be key to its successful implementation. We, your development partners, are committed to aligning our work and support with your priorities. Effective and robust implementation of the education sector plan will justify our gathering all here today. Monitoring, evaluation, and learning will be key to this. The education sector plan should be a living document with learning and adaptation integral to its implementation. Sierra Leone's development partners are committed to working with you for its successful implementation and to transforming learning for all. Thank you.
Thank you too. It has been quite an educative session, and now, in appreciation of the establishment of such a plan, we will receive Odilia, who will present an original song. Odilia, you're welcome on stage.
I will invite Dr. David Moinasenge, the Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary School Education, to talk on the foundational learning and innovation. I'm not going to time you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. His Excellency, the President, retired Brigadier Julius Madabio, Chief Minister, colleague ministers, members of the High Table, please permit me to stand on existing protocols. Today's success speaks to a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity given to us all to establish a new foundation and to do things differently in the education sector. It set the stage for our current and future work. However, effective delivery of this work requires continuous consultations, both at the highest levels with policymakers starting from His Excellency and especially to the beneficiaries of these interventions. So while our kids were on holidays, I figured that I will write them a letter. I wrote a letter to the children of this country and told each one of them to tell me how they spent their holidays and what they wanted the politicians to do for them and how they themselves will be part of that solution. I received many letters from all over the country, but I'll read some just for us. Some of the letters were not really legible, like this from Jalil. It's a good piece of art. Jalil is, I think, 5 years old and was still practicing how to write letters. I see he was practicing how to write J's and O's. But we also got letters like this one, which said, "Dear sir, it's a pleasure to write you this letter, which shows great gladness in my heart. As a response to your letter, I would like to tell you how I spent my holiday, the challenges I face in my community, and suggestions I have for some of those challenges. In terms of cleaning, my community has been facing a lot of challenges lately, as the people have been throwing garbages and dirt in the gutters and drainages, which had led to massive floodings when heavy rains come. It had led to the loss of property and even lives. So I would suggest the weekly cleaning which the president started should continue and people should be strict about it. My own way of helping is that I will go around and sensitize people about why they should clean their environments and what will be the effect if they don't clean their environment. One of the other major problems my community is facing is deforestation. People have been cutting the trees for their own personal reasons, and this has led to global warming in my community. I advise that the president should at least donate some seeds to each community so they could plant the trees, or maybe organize a program that will encourage people to plant more trees. And there should be strict warning to all the communities that whosoever that tries to cut down the tree without the permission or without replacing it should be severely punished. I will stop here for now, and I hope you will read my letter and take my suggestions into consideration. Yours sincerely, Joy Rose, Commander. Your Excellency, that was directed to you through me. Another one that I would like to read is, Dear Minister, my name is Pascaline Igbenda. I'm attending the Ayub International School and I'm in grade 5. I'm 10 years old. My school closed down for the summer vacation. After school closed down, I took 2 weeks off to rest, play with my brother, and learn some skills because I want to build an Uber app. I'll jump to the conclusion. When I grow up, I would like to be a minister or a worker for government and take decisions that will benefit the community. I want all my politicians to make sure we have peace and unity in this country. And Pascaline attached a certificate because she learned how to code during the holiday. I'll read 2 more. There's another one. Dear Honorable David Senge, I read on Twitter you asking us pupils to write you. I decided to take the venture as I would like to meet you in person again. The first time we met was at the stadium when I had roller skating classes, and it was a privilege to see you. These are the things I wish to have in my community. I would like to have a playground in my area and in other areas because we, the kids, don't have that kind of facility. I would like to see the politicians in our constituency to organize cleaning of the environment. And this was by Moses Arain. The final letter that I'll read comes from somebody who says, let us go straight to the point. I live in Tayama, but I have come to spend my holiday in Freetown. And it's a long letter, but one part I wanted to read was, what I want my politicians to know and do, we do not want fighting or using the youth by giving them money to kill people. Your Excellency, there are lots of other letters here, and I will respond to these letters and go and meet some of the students. But we in the basic education sector have developed policies, documents, held consultations, and these policies have not just stayed on the table. They are real success, and they are numbers and impact and lives that are changed daily. Enrollments of kids in schools this year from our annual school census is over 3 million, compared to less than 2 million in 2018. We have just completed the training of 4,000 primary school teachers, primary 1 to primary 3, with a focus on foundational learning. We've expanded tenfold the number of inspectors of schools, which now guarantees an inspector in every chiefdom. 650,000 children have benefited from school feeding, and this number is projected to rise to 800,000 this September. We have recruited up to 10,878 teachers who have been added to the payroll, and we are recruiting more this first term. And overall, the Teaching Service Commission has trained more than 42,000 teachers in all aspects of teacher development with financing from our partners. Your Excellency, with our development partners who are here with us today, we are rolling out several resource mobilization, including the additional financing with the World Bank with free, UNICEF helping us with the GPE Compact, from your trips, yourselves, you being our chief fundraiser, bringing in $18 million from the Education Outcomes Fund, $15 million from the Education Above All, and several other partners. While we strive to making great commitments, we understand that quality is a process. And that is why within our sector plan and all of our documents, we follow what we call the 5 C's. We think about comprehension, computational thinking, creativity, critical thinking, and civics. Because we believe that while education is a right to every child, quality education is what you asked us to pursue, and we are well on the way towards doing that, and we have more. This is our commitment within the education sector plan. Thank you.
Well, from the kids to the young adults and grown-ups, I will invite my very own minister, Professor Alfred Tijan-Wuri of the Ministry of Technical Higher Education. He will speak on skills, training, and development. A round of applause, please. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Chief Minister, colleague ministers, development partners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. This is a happy day. I do not really feel it from you all. Initially, let us give a big hand to the women that actually put the plan together. And to say there is a special woman today among you, that is the first Deputy Vice Chancellor and Principal of IPAM, Professor Conte Morgan. If you can stand up for people to know that another woman has made it tall in Sierra Leone. Now the biggest hand to His Excellency the President. I say so because there are major iniquities in Sierra Leone, haves and have-nots. people in urban areas and rural areas. This is reflected in the numbers that access school. It is reflected in the quality output as well. Well, the free quality school education supported by His Excellency the President is in fact trying to address those inequities. A bigger hand to His Excellency the President. You know, it is always good when you are young and vibrant. The policy of radical inclusion, adequately pursued by David Senge, has now made Sierra Leone known to the world with regards to the strides we are making in education. A very big hand to Dr. David Senge. In 2020, 60% of people passed English and maths at the Becker level, which indicates that only 60% should progress to senior secondary school. There are 40% we have to look at. In the same year, 2020, only 10% passed maths and or English at WASC. Telling you only 10% can access tertiary education or university education the first time around. Therefore, we require a larger number to go into government technical institutes, to go into polytechnics, technical universities, community colleges before accessing university. This plan has tried to answer quite a lot of normal issues that are raised. One, what do we teach at technical and higher education? Two, how prepared are our graduates to access the job market? What are our partnerships with industries? How prepared are we for there to be intervarsity collaboration in producing a degree? By that I mean people taking one component at Jala, another component at Frabe College and still get a degree. How prepared are we for there to be transnational education? What would be our position to imbibe offshore and borderless education? In other words, what we are saying is that how are we going to utilize online provisions? All of these would impact on quality assurance. All of these would impact on the certification processes. What I love about this room today is that we have children of primary school, pupils of secondary school, those of technical and vocational institutions, all in one room. We have head teachers, principals. I saw Madam Mansare, principal of Kisi Municipal. I look at the new head of the technical and vocational institution. But most importantly, we have children from the blind school here. This is all reflective of inclusive education. This is exactly the policy, the principle, and the drive of His Excellency the President. That is, we should leave no one behind. To be able to achieve this at the TVET sector, a national quality framework has been developed. That framework would allow not only for us to heighten the competencies, but it would also allow us to have parity of esteem. We would like to publicly acknowledge the input of GIZ and the British group called, the word is what? Fine. You have got the word. You see, when a man stammers, he should not talk too much. Huh? These people, these groups are supporting the ministry for us to get dual type of education. What you study academically, how you blend with the private sector. And by the time you graduate, you should be somebody that is better hands-on. Although these are pilot programs now, these are programs that the ministry would definitely expand upon. Last year, we are lucky. Lucky in the sense that we had 235 people graduated in higher diploma, which indicates with the support from our international partners, we can do 3 to 6 months pedagogical input into those for them to act as instructors in our technical vocational centers. We are now poised to be able to do so. We have already stratified our exams after secondary school. By that I mean diploma, higher national diploma exams. These are now using West Africa examination, not West Africa. We are using a West Africa syllabus such that we are not going to call them national diploma anymore. We are going to just call them diploma, because it cuts across West Africa as a whole. Government, another big hand to His Excellency the President, because he has supported the ministry to be able to provide equipment in science. Now the Frabe College, Milton Magai, Jala University have been fully equipped to be able to do the basic sciences. What we need to do, however, is to take existing teachers and bring them back through the TSC to give them upgrade such that they can do a lot better as they teach in the schools. All of these tidbits are already addressed in one way or the other in the education sector plan, because we now have to deal with young adults, we now have to deal with working adults, we have to deal with elderly people, all from non-traditional students seeking higher education as well. So what we are saying is that the world is changing, and it is changing rapidly. We do not have one quote fits all. We have to give opportunities for people from various options in life. Those that may go to a preliminary year before they access university in detail. Those that will do diploma options before they access university as well. Because we need to reshape our ideas. We need to reshape our policies. We have to harness digital technologies. We have to show cooperation in research and teaching and learning materials. The plan is telling us that Sierra Leone is getting ready. A couple of days ago, His Excellency the President chaired the meeting for us to talk about education financing. I would always be saying, give him a big hand, give him a big hand. Because whatever we require to do, we have to fund ourselves. Our partners support us, yes, but we must take the lead. We must fund ourselves. And I think as a nation, we are now poised to be able to attain a lot. Thank you very much.
At the highest point is where we will listen to His Excellency the President for his keynote address and the official launch of the ESP 2022 to 2026. But before we do that, let me kindly invite the two Chief Education Officer and Chief Technical Education Officer to symbolically present to His Excellency the President the Education Sector Plan. Dear Professor Yatta and Dr. Josephus, championing education in this country. Thank you very much. Another round of applause for them. And His Excellency the President has officially received the official copy of the Education Sector Plan 2022-2026. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I now pray thee silence for His Excellency the President to deliver his keynote address and officially launch this plan. A round of applause, please.
Let's sit down, please. I'm not timed, I'm sure. For the simple fact that I come from the institution, not as president. The Chief Minister, Ministers of Government, paramount chiefs and community leaders present here this morning, members of the diplomatic and consular corps, education sector administrators and teachers, our learners, pupils, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm truly elated that we are gathered here this morning to formally present a full-bodied plan of our vision for education in Sierra Leone, and this is for the next 5 years. As previous speakers have indicated, this is the fourth education sector plan developed in Sierra Leone since 2007. But this one is firmly situated within the vision we established in the New Direction Manifesto for transforming education in Sierra Leone and anchored in the work of the last 4 years. This one is developed by us, for us, and for our national development. I therefore hasten to thank the leadership of the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education and the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education for their great work to this end. Let me also thank experts, consultants, stakeholders who added their voices and expertise to developing this comprehensive document. The process of developing the education sector plan has been highly consultative. It has been guided by several existing assessment reports, policy frameworks relevant to the sector. Today, the details have been provided by previous speakers. The government of Sierra Leone provided substantial funding in order to meet our objectives. But also, our friends and partners, the Global Partnership for Education and other development partners, including Leone, World Bank, UNICEF, have generously supported this initiative. We already know the impact of education as a cross-cutting driver for inclusive sustainable development. Nations that have achieved rapid and sustainable economic growth have done so by developing the most productive resource in any nation, the human capital. That is why we have predicated our development agenda on delivering human capital development through free quality education, affordable and quality healthcare, and food security. When I speak about intentional planning, therefore, for education in this country, I mean that as a nation, we have leveraged what we know about the education sector, as you have seen from the presentations. We have pondered with purpose over what we need to do, considered experiences of others, and we have then deliberately thought out and carefully scaffolded our implementation interventions. I've always argued that we must get education right if we must get sustainable development right for this nation. As I've always said, the greatest blight in any nation is the lack of access to quality education. In fact, the lack of access to quality education is the root of all evils that can befall a nation. A nation of uncritical thinkers, a nation that cannot participate in the global technology and scientific advancements, a nation that cannot develop entrepreneurship and local manufacturing or attract global investors seeking unique skills is indeed a nation that is assured circles of poor living conditions and intergenerational poverty. Since 2019, we have demonstrated our work that we must change the future of learning, with that, the future of our nation forever. The theme of the Education Sector Plan 2022-2026 pronounces a dedication to transforming learning for all. Our aspiration is that learning, we have equal opportunities to access. Learners, we have equal opportunities to access quality basic education, secondary, technical, vocational, higher education right across the nation. We have laid out our priority objectives very, very clearly. But as with all initiatives as a government, we have started doing what is good. We have reestablished and staffed a new curriculum and resource department which has created new early childhood development curriculum, basic and senior secondary curriculum, and developed learning materials between 2016 and 2022 through our work with partners who have also updated, procured, and distributed teaching and learning materials. Civic education is also again part of the curriculum. We have established a learning assessment unit to conduct international assessments like EGRA and EGMA for primary and secondary grade learning assessments. We have strengthened accountability and developed policies for education sector governance. We have recruited, promoted, replaced more teachers than ever before in the history of this country. There are now more female teachers and higher proportion of female teachers than ever before. There are also more special education teachers, My government has paid teachers more than any other government has in the history of this country. In spite of financial constraints, my government was one of very few in the world to increase teacher salaries even in the middle of COVID-19. I also launched the Presidential Best Teachers Award in order to recognize the outstanding work of our teachers. Instead of witch hunting, hounding down, and disparaging our teachers for 11 years, we have provided more professional assessment and development opportunities for our teachers. And for our parents, we have not only paid tuition fees for every public education learner in this country, we are paying examination fees for over 400,000 learners every year. For all these payments made by government, calculate how much we are putting in, how much money we are putting into the pockets of parents and families per child. We have also developed the SMS results checker that is also saving parents a lot of money. We have also included parents and communities in the governance and management of education. That is why we are talking about the role of paramountries in education. Across tertiary technical and vocational education, we have registered unprecedented successes. The Minister of Technical and Higher Education has mentioned that we now have 10 districts with government technical institutions. We have established a skills development fund for public and private TVET institutions and expanded skills development training at higher and tertiary institutions across the country. We have introduced a national qualifications framework to enhance the quality of standards and equivalencies in certificates. We have reviewed conditions of service for academic and administrative staff of higher and technical institutions. The new student loan scheme will open up access to technical and higher education for more students in the future. Above all, in 4 short years, we have transformed the quality of technical and higher education in this country forever by reviewing the Universities Act and for the first time in this country established the 3 technical universities. The Cornell University of Science and Technology, which was promised to the people of Cornell for 11 years but never delivered. When we talk, we do. The Eastern Technical University and the Milton Magai Technical University. For the first time also, we now have a post-secondary disability policy for accessing learning. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not done. In the near future, we will soon develop a new basic education policy and act, and new technical and higher education policy and act. Other related education sector policies will support and expand the strategic vision we have set out. As I indicated, a few days ago at St. Joseph's Secondary School, and again during my meeting with young learners yesterday, our work on education in this country has been highly praised by the international community. Our Freedom Manifesto that was referred to by our Irish partner representing the other institutions is paying off too. I am the co-chair of the high-level steering committee to UNESCO for SDG 4, and I am the executive committee board member of the Global Partnership for Education. At the United Nations General Assembly this year, I will be the co-chair of the Transforming Education Summit, along with the United Nations Secretary General and a handful of other world leaders. I will also co-chair a special session with the World Bank President and the head of UNICEF. We have ascended to this position in just 4 short years. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Sierra Leone. As I've always argued, transforming education is not cheap. Providing accessible and equitable education with improved learning outcomes has not been cheap and will not get cheaper given our aspirations. But we are confident that it is an investment worth making now in order to make the quality of education in Sierra Leone globally competitive. We have set a new high among peer countries for domestic education financing, with partners including the European Union, British government, the US government, through the USDA, Qatar, Japan, the People's Republic of China, global partnerships in education, the World Bank, contributors to the Donor Trust Fund. We have raised substantial funds to support our work in transforming education in Sierra Leone. There is significant funding gap, as have been said already, and we are hopeful that our development partners can work with us to close that gap. We have a lot to be proud of as a nation in the last 4 years. We have more girls in school and achieved gender parity across all levels of education. We are universally addressing menstrual poverty, once a taboo subject for most men. Now I talk about it, and others are going to follow. I challenge you. As a result of the work of the First Lady, Madam Fatima Bio, and the government, there is greater protection for our girls from sexual and gender-based violence. In the last week, Sierra Leone has received global acclamation for a unanimous vote by the United Nations General Assembly for a Sierra Leone-sponsored resolution calling for justice for survivors of sexual violence. Congratulations again, Sierra Leone. A bill for gender empowerment and equality is in Parliament. I urge citizens to advocate intensively with their members of Parliament to pass that bill. It should not be in Parliament any longer. We are waiting, Parliament. It will transform the future of women, for women, and it will transform the future of this nation, I'm sure. More rural poor now have access to quality education. More children in poorer districts now have warm meals while they are in school. Hitherto, excluded population groups now access education. More schools and more classrooms have been built. More early childhood education facilities have been built. New boarding facilities, more wash facilities in schools, more parent learners, more out-of-school learners, more teachers, better paid teachers, and better students to teacher ratio, all because of this administration. There are now better learning outcomes, and we can now monitor and measure these consistently. There are better completion rates in schools, more passes in transition examinations right across the board, and more students being placed in technical, vocational, and tertiary education institutions. We do not only have comprehensive school data, we predicate our policies, planning, and interventions on relevant, current, and accurate data. We are not satisfied with these achievements, and even more that we are going to do. Our aspiration is to do more. That is the proper way. I believe that in the coming years, we can do more to address learning poverty at the foundational levels, right across Sierra Leone, and improve our literacy and numeracy levels. I also believe that our learners can graduate from Becker and WAS levels with skills they can use to develop business startups and create jobs and income streams. I have a technical glitch. I believe in the transformative power of education to make our learners more productive citizens who can craft a new perspective on and take action to tackle urgent challenges of education in the world. Climate change education, for instance, can empower learners to develop attitudes and take action to mitigate the effects of climate change in their communities and hence avert avoidable disasters that we are prone to as a nation. I believe that we can innovate teaching and learning, and we can go beyond education innovation challenges that we have started in order to improve our learning outcomes. Everything is possible with God and with this administration. We have been bold and audacious, and we have made the seemingly impossible happen in just 4 years, short years. We may be a small nation, but our achievements and our ambitions are unlimited. We believe that fit-for-purpose education can transform the future of our beloved nation, and we must aspire to it. With this shared vision and aspiration and common commitment to getting even better, I proudly launch the Education Sector Plan 2022 to 2026. And thank you for your attention.
I think His Excellency deserves more than that. Yes, as he is ushered to his seat. Thank you very much. Kindly take your seats. When I have to admit, I have a glimpse of the ESP, and when His Excellency summarized all of it, I started thinking that he may have read back to back, page by page, all of its content. And that sends a signal to us, for those of us who will be implementing, that His Excellency's eyes are on the implementation of the sector plan. But ladies and gentlemen, I cannot be more proud today as a Sierra Leonean, knowing that Sierra Leone is playing a very critical role in the education sector across the globe. Recognizing that the two ministers are either chair and co-chair of all of these committees and organizations, and even proudly that our President, His Excellency, is also chairing and co-chairing some of these committees and organizations. I want us to give them all a very big round of applause for making us proud Sierra Leoneans. Thank you very much. You may not be hearing any more of my voice because once I go to the backstage, I may not be coming back. But before that voice ceases, please permit me to thank the real pilot for this occasion today, Madam Leone by Kamara. She has been in control of this occasion, and I want us to give her a big round of applause. Thank you very much. You've done a great job. She did all of it, and I am so grateful to you for helping out. The rest will be hers.
I'm more thankful to you. Thank you for thanking me. All good things will come to an end, not in a negative way this time, but in a sense that we shall all have to leave this room so as to actively take on even more good things. Just as it is said by our president, our aspiration is to do even more. We will have Adam Abania to carry out that task of giving us the vote of thanks. She is a school pupil of the Annie Walsh Memorial School. Let us please welcome Adam Abania on stage. Also one more thing. Immediately after that is done, we'll be having a photo opportunity with the president and other ministers. Let us be set for that part of the agenda.
Well, did I say I was going to take the back seat? I am apologetic for that, but we would want the following representatives to have a photo opportunity with His Excellency after the vote of thanks, after the national anthem, please. The World Bank, and I will encourage all to remain seated. The World Bank representative, Irish Aid, EU, UNICEF rep, FCDO, the two ministers and the deputies, ministers of education and their deputies, the chief minister, and of course, His Excellency the President. Please remain seated after the national anthem.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Chief Ministers, government ministers present, honorable members of parliament, ministers and staff of the ministries of education, development partners, our revered paramount chiefs, heads of schools and teachers present, colleague pupils and parents, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is an honor and great privilege to stand here and represent the over 3 million pupils and student body across Sierra Leone to say thank you. Firstly, I want to thank those who actually developed this plan. The Education Sector Plan for 2022-2026 is indeed a valuable document that will help transform the education of this county. It is worthy to note that the development of this plan was led by women in Sierra Leone. For me and many others, it is a dawn of a new era. I want to particularly thank the two ministers of education, Dr. David Moina Senge and Professor Alpha Tijan Wuri, of the Ministries of Basic and Senior Secondary Education and Technical and Higher Education, respectively, for their exemplary leadership. This document will not only serve as a legacy, but will also be used as a valuable instrument to adequately guide the implementation of the free quality school education program. On this note, I want to say a big thank you to all various teams who work directly or indirectly with the ministers and the government of Sierra Leone as a whole to see this plan through. What you have started will not only serve as an imprint to others who intend to work in the same vein. To all our honorable guests, I want to express a profound gratitude for your presence and support in diverse ways. I cannot end this without saying thank you to the entire pupil and student body of this nation as we pray that the provisions in this plan will be worked with so that it will benefit us all. This same gratitude is extended to the media houses here present for their massive coverage. As we launch the Education Sector Plan of 2022-2026 today, we hope and pray that it will be utilized for its intended purpose. I thank you all.